Okay, this video is to explain how the Redshift Query Editor V2's functionality is working. I'm in my AWS account in the Redshift console. So I currently have only one cluster available. So when you just like click on the cluster, you will be seeing this go to Query Editor V2. That is one way you can go to the Query Editor V2. Or if you are like in scroll down to the left hand side, you would see like the editor, and then Query Editor or Query Editor V2 is one of the option. So let's wait for it to be loaded. So definitely the look and feel of the Query Editor V2 is completely different from the current editor. What I liked is that the list of clusters are actually visible here. But if the cluster is unavailable, or like basically if you have passed the cluster also, it does come up in the same screen. I wish they have actually taken care of at least only showing the clusters whatever is like available to query. Here that will just help the user to not guess what are the clusters that are currently available, right? So you can actually open up this clusters, like just expand this tree. It's kind of slow when loading. The response time seems to be really slow. I expect it to come a little bit much more faster. So here, so the cluster, the database, and then the rest of the tables are all listed. I have only sample tables here. Before I get into the table structures here, from this drop down, if you have like other databases, you would be able to get to that data, to the other databases also. But currently I have only one database. So if you just like double click on this category, it lists down what are all the column names inside this table, and then like the data types of it is also listed here. It's kind of definitely handy. And if you had noticed that as I double clicked on this table, it just gives you a select star from public dot category. So just a sample query is definitely provided. So I expect when I click on this field name, right, like category group, when I click on this field name, I would expect that it would come here, but it did not come here. So if I'm a user who are not like very familiar with writing SQL statements, it would be a little difficult for me to know where exactly I have to put this field name for querying. So that is one, it's good, but definitely if it was taken care to just put the column names here, it would have been much more handy. So let's run this query and see what happens. So here are the results, which is good, and I should be able to like export the current page to JSON or to CSV format and then copy with header. So let me just like try to copy with headers here. And if I'm opening a notepad and simply pasting it, I don't see anything happening. So copy with headers again, and then I'm trying to paste. Okay, nothing happened. So let me try to select everything and then copy with headers. Okay. I'm not sure about this, how I would be like using this particular feature, because what I anticipated to see is something like cat group and sports shows like this, not in this manner. So let's see what actually comes up if I am adding like another field here. So let's just unselect here. I'm trying to add another field and running the query. I'm not completely satisfied with the response time. It's still like kind of slow. And let's select all the fields and try to right click and then copy with headers. And it just gives us like a key value pair. I don't know the use of this particular output, so I'm going to skip over that. And let's see what other options is here. So just a simple copy is only copying the fields. I still don't know this. I expect it to see like here, something like this is what like I expect to see when I'm simply copying, because if I'm working with like multiple columns of data, and if the data is just like coming to be like just copied and pasted in this manner, I don't see an use of that actually. So let's move on, and then let's do exported selected rows to JSON. That I think that might be good. We'll take a look at it shortly. Export selected rows to like CSV, and let's take a look at that also to see how that data has come up. This is good. Definitely this is good. You can use it for further processing if you need. But if a business consumer is actually like working with the data, I don't expect them to export it into a JSON format, because mostly they would need like an Excel or a CSV format. So let's take a look at the Excel format, like the CSV format here. And this is good. I can see value in this kind of output, definitely. So let's close down, and the next feature that is defined is like you can save this query. So let me save this query as like a sample query, and the versioning of the query is something that has been specified. So I'm gonna do let's just do sales table. So that I'm gonna switch the sales to the sales table here, and I'm still going to update the same sample query to start querying from sales table instead of from the category table. So let's see, I'm gonna pick like quantity sold and then seller ID. Okay, so quantity sold and seller ID. If I run this query, okay, let me save this query again. We'll come back here. Let's take a look quickly at the saved queries. So here is the sample query. So if you right click on this, and you can see the versions of the query. So the version history, you can see that just now I wrote the query to query from the sales table, and a minute ago it is querying from the category table. So you have options to revert to the selected version. This is my original queries. I'm not going to revert it to that version. Or you can actually like save as, let's do this, save as category query, right? Like so this is querying category table. So it's like category query. And now I should be seeing like two queries actually listed here. So one is the category query, and then another one is the sample query. So let's see if I open this version history. The previous history is still there, so I don't see a option to delete this, or whatever queries that's been written, it just like stays there. The versions you cannot like delete it further, and I currently don't know how many versions you can keep it. And but if you do not want to save this query, you can always like delete it. I will come to the share with my team a little later. So now let's get back to the database, the query that we ran here. Another option that is being told is the chart option. So let's see if I do the chart option. So you can actually change these charts to anything else. So let's do like a bar diagram that just shows, I think it is just showing the seller ID as the X column, and then the quantity sold as the Y column. And you can have like a vertical bar or like a horizontal bar. I like the horizontal in this case. And any other options, like all these options are available for the queries. I'm sorry, like for the charts. So annotate, let's see, sure, like annotation, so new text, I can, this is a sample text. text, so you can, looks like you can write whatever you want. I'm just gonna bold it, and then you can italize that. You can even put a link to it. Let's test if it goes to like google.com, right? If I'm just putting a link, google.com, and just hitting enter, and these are all just like the fonts. I'm not going to work with that. So in this query, if I'm from this chart, if I'm just like clicking it, that's okay. So that shows that the links has to be fully qualified, because it's simply putting the HTTPS console and then the SQL workbench before. I would rather expect it to just like take that as a full link like HTTP Google, instead of prefixing it with other paths in it. So let's see, edit in HTML. Okay, it's still like href is equal to google.com. I would expect it to go actually to google.com instead of adding additional prefixes in place. Let's just try now, giving like fully qualifying it. Okay, this does not seem to work fine, because as I'm typing it in the HTML, often the letters are simply just coming down here. So I'm going to go back and then edit this link, http www.google.com, and now let's give this a try. Now it goes to Google. So just fully qualify the link and annotate the shapes. I am not sure. Okay, I'm not gonna work with that. It does not seem to be self-explanatory, so I'm just gonna ignore that shape. Let's not do that. And I'm not sure what happened to my chart right now, so I'm gonna run this query one more time. Then let me, okay, so here is the chart. So now I can say like save chart, and I'm gonna tell like sample chart save. And now let's go to charts here. So here you can see the chart. You can actually export it into PNG or JPEG format. So let me try to export it to JPEG to see the quality of the export. So open. Oh, that does not help me actually. So that's like very small. No. It doesn't seem to be helpful. Okay, so if I open this chart, and now if I try to export it to JPEG, okay, here from this option you can actually control the height and the width of it, and then say export. I'm gonna open this again to see how I'm guessing it would help. Yeah, this is much better than the previous one what we had. I'm also going to try and see what happened to the annotation, right? So let's see, checking annotation in export, and okay, that's it. And let's do export PNG again, and the same size. And when it is done, let's open it. And yep, that's good, that you can annotate, like the annotations also can be exported, but the query does not come along with that. So I'm thinking like maybe if you want to um, just write down the query that was ran for this export, you can do that. And I'm also wondering what happened to the X and the Y axis, like does not say what each grids are actually like talking about. So currently I didn't say an easy way how you can write out, okay, the access. So you'd have to like literally write down the access here. So the x-axis is actually the seller ID, and then the y-axis is actually the quantity sold. You would expect that when you say the x and y axes are provided in the in here, that it would pick it up. At least like the column names should be picked up, and if the user wants to change the name of it, you should be able to come and change it. But that seems to be like, that functionality seems to be like missing out here. But okay, overall I think I've mentioned like couple of options where it could have been improved. But what is one advantage? Maybe like you can create like charts like right from here. So in the query editor v1, let's just go to query editor v1 also for a quick comparison here to see if we are able to connect to the database. And it's like dev, I think, yeah, it's dev and then AWS user. Gonna see if it will. Okay, so I do see the tables here. So the comparison between the query editor v2 and v1 is like, yes, I do see the tables also. The only thing is like I should be able to log into any of the Redshift clusters that I have within my account without having a need to like switch between databases and then switch between clusters. That is the only advantage I am kind of seeing, and because I do not currently I do not see multiple clusters here. So I don't have multiple clusters, so I'm not able to like test it out. And if I am just like clicking on the double clicking on the table would not like do anything, but I should be able to like write down like preview data would just simply show me the data here, but it won't write like a select statement like on the top. So that is one disadvantage, that here you can get the select statements written out. So if I'm running this query, the same query that I ran in the other, like in the query editor v2, if I'm running it here, this is like definitely slow, but why I came over here is to just show how this visualize option would work. So it lists down like that there is a lot of data, but it was limited to 100. So that's one advantage, like it just limits to 100. So the user really does not know how many records are actually there for this particular table. So the user wouldn't know that. Yeah, so if I don't say limit 100 and then run this query, right, and now just says like 100,000 rows are actually there. So the total rows, this is good, and the elapsed time is like 117 milliseconds. It kind of gives total number of rows, which I would not like. We don't see that option here, like how many rows are there. That is actually, it does give here like rows return is like 172,456, but here it says 100,000. So the numbers doesn't match. And then the visualizing, if I just click on visualize from the current editor, so it does, you have the same options. I don't know if you have like observed this earlier or not. You have the same options basically to show like a line bar and just like a bar chart. And notice that like the seller ID and the quantity sold, like the legends came automatically, which is one good thing. And it looks like, so in the query editor v1 we have an option to add another chart. So let's just check that option out. So if I say like add another and I want to just make that as a line, okay, let's do like a bar chart instead. seems to be little unstable. So I selected okay, so the add another is not really another chart. It's basically like another column that has to be like added. So I would have to like change the query for it. So let's see like what other columns are there in the query. So price paid. So let me just like quantity sold, and then price paid is the other column that I want to do. So we'll run the query, and I'm going to visualize it to just check out adding another column to the visualization, like how does it work. And then we'll go back to query editor v2 to check out the chart option in v2. Okay, so now if I do visualize, and definitely there is like a lot of data, so I think that's why it's taking a while. So here let me do like price paid, and it just like tricked me. I don't see that option right now. The visualization got kind of lost. Okay, it's pretty stable, but the price paid would definitely like vary based on the quantities sold. So that's why I think we are just like seeing it on top of each other maybe. If I change this option to be bar chart instead of line, okay, so the selections seem to like work little slow. So let me just like switch over to the query editor v2 to see the functionalities of the chart there. So here we are, we have already like plotted one of the chart here, and let me do the same code. It's definitely slow. I'm gonna close down this editor so to see if that's gonna help out. Okay. So we are in the query editor v2, so we will try to add another chart. In the v1 we kind of saw that only one of the chart is possible, and you can probably like visualize couple of columns depending on like the number of columns that you have selected in the select statements. But let me try adding like another chart here. So the trace one, the trace 0 we added was the bar chart. So the trace one, I want to make it like a, let's just do like a scatter plot. And I'm going to select the same column. So this is like the seller ID, and then the quantity sold. So you see that it's just like overlaying on top of the existing chart. And if possibly if we are actually going to like select like price paid as one other column, and we can, let's see how that can be like plotted possibly. Okay, so I'm going to change the price paid, like the second one to be just like price paid, and then remove this one. So for the seller ID, this is the price paid, and you can see that is a scatter plot, and then we had like the bar chart here, which I can change it to like vertical. Um, I don't think it's like perfect, but you just have like multiple options to actually create like simple charts out of the query editor v2 itself. But AWS also has like quick site, so possibly many of the dashboards and charts may be created from QuickSight as compared to this query editor v2. Telling like I'd show you about the sharing of the query, right? So for sharing of the query, you say like share with my team, it's mainly requiring like a principal tag to be put on the IAM role. So SQL Workbench team, you'd have to like literally call out the call it out as part of the tag. So let me pause for a minute, and then like I will add that tag and then show when you are like sharing it, how exactly it just like shows up here. So let me pause the video. Okay, so because I'm using only like users, I have added the tag like SQL Workbench team to testing. So this is how, like, if you are providing role-based accesses, you can actually give that particular role, like adding that tag saying SQL Workbench hyphen team, and then whatever name you are giving it here is good. What I'm observing is like you cannot add, since you cannot like add one more tag here, right? Because tags are like unique. It makes me wonder that the user can be part of only one team. So if the user is like part of different teams, then the sharing of it doesn't like work in the manner, right? Because I am not able to give like a list here. It's just like a name, and when I go to the query editor right now, so I was here in this query. So let me just say like sample query, and then so currently I already like enabled the sharing, and the video did not record. So let me just do this. Okay, share with my team. So now the test query is like shared. So if I come back here, so shared by me, I've shared like two different queries here. So shared to my team, it just like shows up here also. So if anybody else is sharing it, and I would be able to like see here. It does have a drawback though, because if I can, as I said, like if I can have an option to share it with different groups based on a selection, then it would be helpful. It would be more helpful is what like I'm seeing. So now if we just like to stop sharing, you just like say stop sharing with my team, and it's pretty as simple as that. And when you're writing a query, right, when you're just like here writing a query, you see this option like share to testing. You can actually enable and disable this also to share and not share. So if I just like said share to testing, so sharing was removed successfully, right? And then again, like I just say share to testing, it's immediately shared. It's good and bad if I'm accidentally, if my mouse is not like moving further, and in case like instead of clicking save, if I'm clicking on share to testing for that second, accidentally this query is like no longer shared with anyone, because it doesn't ask for a confirmation asking do you want to unshare or do you want to share. So that confirmations is not given. um, yeah, but that option is not available in query editor v1, so it's maybe a nice to have. Okay, that ends this whole demonstration about query editor v2, what goods and bads are there, and I hope you liked this video and found it purposeful and like useful. I will see you all in a different video. Thank you.